What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Conorville. Happy to have you here. Unless you're the reviewer from IGN that watched Transformers 1 and gave it a 5, you don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, you saw the title. You get where I'm going with this. I got to see Transformers 1 not once, but twice before it actually comes out, and I'm here to give you my thoughts. Before I really start diving into it, make sure you like and subscribe. It means the world to me. But I'm gonna jump just straight into it. I went to this movie for the first time a month and a half ago thinking this was just a cash grab kids animated movie. In case you didn't know, I am a villains guy ever since I was a kid. I've always liked Darth Vader more than Luke Skywalker, Zurg over Buzz, Gaara over Naruto, the list goes on. I love villains, so my main concern going into this last month was please do Megatron justice. And guys, it may be recency bias, but this is my favorite version of Megatron I have seen on the screen. Because yes, the Michael Bay movies that have Megatron in it are absolutely perfect. He is a scary, scary villain. But he's pretty one-dimensional in those movies. This movie shows his fall from grace, and they do it so well. But we can talk more about Megatron in a minute. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go over the plot and why this works. Now, this movie is a prequel to everything we know about Transformers. This does not start off with Optimus Prime and Megatron. This is Orion Pax and D16 and how their friendship molded them into the Transformers we know them today. Right off the bat, this movie tells you everything you need to know about the history of Cybertron, the history of the Primes, and where Optimus is in this story. Orion and D16 are both cogless minors at the start of this movie, meaning they cannot even transform, and they are smaller and weaker than most of the other Transformers living on Cybertron. You find out all of the Primes are long dead and that they have to mine for their energy. And the characters right away demonstrate how they feel about this. Orion Pax is always looking for more and believes that he has a greater purpose, while D16 is just happy to be doing his job and serving the last Prime alive. Orion's main goal is to find the Allspark and to bring prosperity back to Cybertron. And it's a noble goal, but he's constantly getting into trouble for it. And that's how we meet our side characters, Alita and Bumblebee. And I won't spoil too much about the movie, but they group up fairly quick. But everything changes when Orion finds a map that takes them to the surface that could potentially lead them to the Allspark. And that sequence of them leaving the core of Cybertron to the surface is so beautifully done. It's one of my favorite sequences in the movie because it's just so out there. One of the main benefits of this movie is that it's not on Earth and there are no humans, so you can really do things that you would never see in a Transformers movie. Not only with how the Transformers act, but the settings around them. And I have to give my props to the writers and animators of this movie because they spared no expense and it looks beautiful in almost every shot. Once they get to the Allspark, they don't find it, but they do find a lot of interesting stuff, including the truth about who they are and why they are cogless. And it's brutal. There's a lot of hard truths for them to swallow, and you can see that it is crushing Orion, but it is making D16 angry. And again, that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite things about this movie, how they handled D16's transition into Megatron. Because it is a kid's movie at the end of the day. They could have made it very simple and he just snaps one day and can't handle it. But it is a slow burn that pays off so well throughout the whole movie. You can totally see where his gears are turning. One of my favorite things about Megatron's story is that he's not like actively seeking out to become evil. He is being pushed into this position. Whether it be from Orion making him travel to the surface, whether it's learning the history of the Allspark, the Primes, and who he is. You can watch it and understand and even somewhat agree with his actions. Which again, to me, as a villains guy, is top tier writing. If you can focus on the villain just as much as you can on the hero, that shows to me that you're putting the effort into these characters. Because Megatron doesn't have to be a one-dimensional villain. He can have reasons he can have feelings, he can have a story. But after they discover the truth, they get their cogs finally, and they are starting to resemble the Transformers that we know and love today. And at the same time, you can see this is where they are starting to become the Transformers we know today. The way they are responding to their newfound powers is incredible. Orion starts becoming a little bit more like Optimus and leading them through the danger, while Megatron is slowly becoming more twisted and enjoying the fights a lot more than everyone else. On their way back to the core of Cybertron, we see a lot of familiar faces that, again, I won't spoil for you, but the dynamics between these characters and our characters is played so well, because when you meet them, you're like, how is this actually going to work with D16 and Optimus? But oh my god, they are blowing your mind again and making it work. And I'm sorry if that's a little vague. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as best I can while explaining how great this movie actually is. And then we get to the third act, and this elevates the entire movie, because you're locked in for the first 2 acts, figuring out how this is going to end and how we actually get to the Megatron and Optimus that we know today. And you're slowly seeing the shifts through Act 1 and 2. But Act 3 is where they have to come to terms with who they really are and who they are going to be with their new powers. And again, that's one of the best parts of the movie. They are both trying to save Cybertron in their own way. Optimus has nothing but hope in him and can continue to look forward with his head held high, while Megatron has been beat down by the world and the truth of it all. And he's angry. He wants revenge. And after he gets his revenge, he now believes that he is the only one who can actually save and protect Cybertron. And he's not wrong, because he does stuff in this movie that no one else could have. So there we are. Megatron has gotten his revenge, and Optimus is trying to bring him back down, but Megatron will not be controlled ever again. And you get this beautiful sequence between the two of them. And it leads into a leap of faith moment like Spider-Verse. I'm not even lying. Because this moment is the moment that Orion becomes Optimus Prime, and it is so gorgeous, so heartfelt, so emotional. You can't believe what you're watching, and you can't believe that they're actually pulling this off. Chris Hemsworth's voice. I know it sounds weird in the trailers, but by the end of the movie, you are going to say that is Peter Cullen Jr. It leads into this beautiful final fight between Megatron and Optimus now that they are fully the characters that they're always supposed to be, for better or for worse. And it is some of the coolest action I have ever seen, not only in a Transformers movie, but in an animated movie. The moves they are doing is so cool. The weapons they're using are so fun, and the emotions of it all, seeing these guys being friends for the whole movie and watching Optimus notice this slow fall from grace that leads into this final fight where their hearts are broken. It's crazy, because if you're like me, you've known these characters your whole life, but they've just always been enemies. This movie shows you that they were friends to enemies, and it puts a whole new meaning on their relationship in every movie I've ever seen the two of them in. And to top it all off, as I mentioned earlier, the animation is just so good. It is so cool to see Cybertron being alive. The color choices that they use for explosions, for the exterior of the planet, for the colors on other Transformers. It's so beautiful. It reminds me so much of that intro scene of Cybertron in the Bumblebee movie we got a couple years ago. All in all, I'm so happy with this movie. Not only did they do a great original origin story for two beloved characters, but they did the lore and the world of Transformers that we all know and love so much justice. If there's a character you love in the Transformers mythos, they're probably in this movie, and they are being done so well that you are going to absolutely love it. I'm honestly so shocked that IGN would give this movie a 5. And one of the main parts of their critique was the action. And I went into this movie for the second time after reading their review, so I was looking for this action that they were talking about, and it's only good. Like, I was pleasantly surprised every time there's a fight on screen for how creative the animators are for the choices of how they're fighting. And it's very easy easy to follow along with these fights. I really don't understand what this reviewer was watching. At the end of the day, I had a great time with this movie, and I have been recommending it to everybody. I can't stress enough that I went into this movie thinking it was just going to be a kid's cash grab, and I came out really believing that it's one of the best Transformers movies. And I say that as a Michael Bay Transformers enthusiast. I love those movies so much, and I thought those would be the peak of who these Transformers characters could be. And I can't stress it enough. Megatron steals the movie. He is my favorite character, and I think he's going to be the majority of people's favorite character. But I can't wait for you all to see it. It comes out so soon, and I know it's going to make so much noise. How excited are you guys for this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said at the beginning, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps out the channel so much, and it means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you all soon. Peace.